Hello, hello, hello. Story time, story time. I'm just being reminded because I was having a conversation with somebody else today about a story that's going to sound crazy, but it's true. And the story is about, I have to give you the ethnicities of everybody in order for you to understand the craziness of it all. And some of the locations. I won't give names because these are people I love, and I don't want them being harassed. Had to take them keys off so they'll stop making all that devilish noise. But anyway, oh, it's been so long ago. I can't even remember how long ago it's been. Maybe 7 years. Maybe 7 years. This young man, first of all, like I said, I'm going to give you the ethnicities of these people that I am speaking of. The mom is Egyptian. The son is mixed. And his sister, of course, is mixed. I think the mom met the father, which is surprising to me because I didn't even know that people went to the Middle East in the military. I mean, I might be getting this part of the story wrong, but my assumption is she met her husband when he was in the military, and she was living in Egypt. Like I said, she's Egyptian. And then they got married. She was so beautiful. When I looked at the pictures of them, he was a little older than, he was an older man. It seems to be that he was an older man, and they had kids. The young man that I'm going to talk about is the younger of the two. I think he might be 35, if I'm not mistaken. He's probably around the same age my son is. Anyway, so while I was thinking about that whole situation of how old he is, he has a sister who is slightly older than him. This sister, his sister, his mom, his dad at one point lived in Dora, Alabama. I think that's right. Dora is it's a mixed population, but I still believe that it's mostly Caucasian. So by being mixed, it was, especially during that time, it was mostly mixed, black and white. So them being the mix that they were was very unusual. I'm sure from what the stories that I've been told, they were called San Ins and all kind of stuff. The sister looks more Caucasian, so she kind of fit in, I would think, a little more than he did. He doesn't look Egyptian. All you know is he's a mix of some kind. Got a beautiful head of curly mixed gray locks now. But anyway, the situation was that that's where they were raised up and everything. I'm not going to tell the story that's not mine to tell about the relationship between mom and dad and all kind of stuff like that. But from what I understood from the son, he was telling me, I'm going to call him Bob. Bob said that they had a chicken farm in Dora, and the chicken farm, they raised I forgot how many. I think he said they had like 1,000 chickens, and they pretty much had the chickens for eggs, not for meat, not for poultry. So the situation was that I don't know, but I believe that after the father died, she ended up trying to find a community where she could be and be comfortable, because like I said, it's probably majority Caucasian there in Durham. But anyway, she ended up moving to a suburb of Birmingham. It's its own city, but people know that it's on the outskirts. It's more like a suburb in Birmingham. Anyway, so she ended up being my dad's next door neighbor after becoming a widow. And for whatever reason, I don't know if the daughter went to school in that suburb or she went to school mostly where they lived in Durham. But anyway, all I know is when she got married, that's where they lived. She got married and that's where they lived. And from what I understand, she lived in one of those neighborhoods, it's a cute little neighborhood with those cookie cutter type houses. So it's very hard to distinguish one house from another. It might be the same house, but the door's on one side of one house and it might be on the other side of another house. Some of them might have the same color brick, but one might have shutters to distinguish it from the other. You get what I'm saying. So this young man went and was spending the night with his sister. And I don't know if somebody had brought him back to her house or whatever. But anyway, unbeknownst to him, all he knew is he didn't feel good. Come to find out, he had the flu or pneumonia or something like that. They had kind of him kind of disoriented, but he had sense enough to make it back to his sister's house. Wherever he had been, like I said, that was somewhere where he was familiar with for the most part. So, but this neighborhood that his sister stayed in, I don't know if he was so familiar with it or if it was the fact that those houses were cookie cutter. Anyway, he was coming back to his sister's house, and he got back to what he thought was his sister's house, and he was knocking on the door because he couldn't get in. So, like I said, being disoriented because of whatever reason, he's knocking on the door, asking her to let him in, if I'm not mistaken, he did say, he was like, hey, let me in, I don't have a key, and saying stuff like that. I'm not for sure, but being told the story, that's what I remember being said. Anyway, so that ain't help at all, did it? Okay, so anyway, him being in the neighborhood, him knocking at somebody else's door, and like I said, they had been called saying N-words in the past, right? So him being, in the situation that he was in, he's knocking on the wrong door, and the person who lives there, the man of the house, opens the door with the shotgun and shoots this young man. And the young man ended up in the hospital, not only to treat the illness that he had, the sickness that he had, but for the gunshots as well. Well, after this situation, I don't know if the sister tried to explain what had happened or anything of that nature. But anyway, the young man, after he was recovered enough, ended up being sent to jail on charges that he was trying to break what is it, breaking and entering. He was the man claimed that he was trying to break into his house, right? Yeah. I don't know too many burglars that knock on the door before they break into your house, and especially to tell you that I don't have a key. Let me in, I don't have a key. So I forgot how long he stayed in jail, but then he went to like prison for about 2 years. Yeah, for breaking and entering. All the charges. I mean, when you think about it, they tell you you're supposed to be able to be somewhere with a jury of your peers. There's no peers. There were no peers in Durham, whatever that county is. I can't even remember what that county is, but there are no peers. There is nobody that looks like them. Nobody that looks like him there. So how could he get a fair trial? And then even the lawyers were not the best. And him thinking, well, it could be pleaded down or whatever. It didn't work in his favor. Matter of fact, I really believe there should have been like time served for him being in jail, and that should have been it, but it wasn't. This young man has a heart of gold, really does. Has a heart of gold. He really looks after my dad. Considers him like a second father. Make sure he goes to his doctor's appointments. Make sure that he eats, and things like that. I can even say this. My brother, on my dad's side, my brother was accusing folks of stealing, accusing this young man of stealing. But it's really funny that the stealing didn't begin until, not my brother, but people associated with my brother started coming around. And it didn't end until him and the people that he was associated with stopped coming around. My dad gets his medicine. He has, like I said, everything that he's supposed to have. If I can't do it, it's definitely done, because it's a little distance, and for a long time I wasn't able to get to my dad in the way I needed to, the way I like every day. So this person I could call and say, hey, is everything okay? Asking him, but what's needed? Well, I got this, Rachel. Well, I got that. I'm taking care of this. Don't worry. You want to speak to him? Yeah. My dad constantly loses his phone. This young man constantly, him and his mom buying my dad new phones. I bought him some stuff so he can keep up with it. He doesn't keep up with it. He's 75. And he's like, I don't talk on the phone anyway, so it don't make me no different. So he's kind of my lifeline to my dad when I wasn't able to get to him like I needed to. And so this happened to him, and he's very talented. I think right now, because of what's going on with him, I don't know if he's on disability, because he works in construction, but he can't work in construction because he can't get back and forth to where he needs to, to the sites, because he can't drive. And the reason he can't drive because he has narcolepsy. In order to, do what he needs to do, his mom helps. He helps. She helps as well as she helps my dad. So I thought about this story. I'm like, this is really wild, but it's not unusual here in the South. All these different, really nowadays it's not unusual anyway. It's not unusual unusual anyway anywhere. But right now, it's like I thought about that. I don't understand if these so-called conservative Christians realize that you are just buying a straight ticket to hell because of the way you treat people. You call yourself a Christian. Well, you are not doing the basic things that Christ asked you to do. And that was to love everybody. If nothing else, you could have called to see or just look out of your door. You looked out your door, and I believe this man saw who it was and decided, this is my opportunity to kill somebody I don't like and get away with it. But he lived. Praise God. Basic thing God asked you, well, his son asked you to do was not just love folks that look like you, because that's easy, and people that love you, because that's easy. He said love everybody, even your enemies. This man was not an enemy. He had nothing except, what men usually carry around them. But if somebody is knocking on the door, why can't you say you got the wrong house? You got the wrong house. Would have been an easy answer to that situation. But I really feel like that man wanted to kill him saying N-word. Like they had been being called in that area for so many years. But anyway, he has a heart of gold. And your heart is black, sir. Your heart is black. Your heart is really the color of people. the color of people that are, well, we're not black. That's another thing too. We are called black, but I don't know anybody that's that dark. They close to it, but you call people black. But and you call us N-words. But you are the one who is black. Your heart is black, your soul is black. I pray that he has forgiven this man so he could make it to heaven. That's a hard thing to go through. Knowing that somebody purposely tried to kill you. And even with the evidence that he was delirious because he was sick, even with that evidence, he still went to prison. He still went to jail. He still did time that he shouldn't have done. Y'all, this is the time you really got to stay prayed up. You can't be vengeful. I know that's easy to say, but that's the truth. You can't be vengeful. God's gonna fight the battles, each and every one of them, and whether people realize it or not. Just like what's his name says on I can't think of the little boy on the Boondocks. I can't think of his name, but just like he said to Santa, you gonna pay what you owe. You gonna pay what you owe. Since you want to be about your father, the devil's business, you gonna pay his debts. You gonna pay his debts. Give God the glory in all that you do, in his way and in his word, not your own. Y'all be blessed.